Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entrepreneur Lives. Today we have Ginger King, and she's a cosmetic chemist who helps people to build their own beauty brand from concept to launch, including formulation that they can own. Welcome, Ginger. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for inviting me, Barry.
You're so welcome. Tell us more. I love the beauty industry. I'm actually involved in it in a slight way myself, but nowhere near what you do. But please tell us more about, your concept, what you do, and how you help people.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people, especially women, they dream to have their own beauty business because, I mean, who doesn't like to be beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even though there are thousands and thousands of products on the market, women are never satisfied. So they do on their own. However, they have no idea on how to start. And there are basically three ways you can start. And if you're interested, we can talk about it in more details. But I basically guide them for their clarity based on their desire, their budget, and what is their end goal of having their own beauty brand and recommend strategies.
Great. And say for somebody then that wanted to enter into the beauty business, what would you recommend to them, or what steps or tips would you tell them?
Sure. The first step is actually you need to be very clear on your why. If you want to have your beauty business as a hobby, would be very different than to leave a legacy or have a financial freedom for exit. So you need to be clear on your why. If it's only a hobby for you, you can do private label, which is very inexpensive, and you can have your brand like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you are serious about it and this can be a game changer for your career, then you may want to consider using contract manufacturers that
Yeah.
will have a larger scale. However, with contract manufacturer, you don't get to own the formula because that's how you tie you in for customer for life. So the best way is actually more investment heavy in the beginning, but give you the best return on investment is to work with a consultant like myself. Because when you work with me, you actually get to own your formula. And there are many benefits of owning formulas because once you own your formula as your intellectual property,
Yeah.
it's easier for you to get investors.
Very good. And so that would be then for somebody that was getting involved, they will have their own product, their own formula with their own name on it. So they wouldn't have to effectively deal with, many different products that are out there.
Correct.
Yeah, very good. And tell me then, I suppose, how long have you been doing that? And, many, I suppose, people have you worked with in the past?
I have been in the beauty industry for 30 years and I've been doing consulting for the past 10 years and I have been helping countless of brands and they are in all different type of distribution channels as well.
Very good. And tell me then, is it, again, forgive me, I'm not really up with the beauty business. I'm actually involved somewhat with a, laser treatment company, but they have their own products as well. But they're based in Portugal. But what type of products do you deal with, or is there a range?
Actually do everything from head to toe. So from hair care to facial care, neck, body, feet, so I can do the whole range of products. However, I prefer not to do color cosmetics because color cosmetics it's very fun to wear. It's very messy to make and to clean up.
Okay. Okay. And what would be, I suppose, what would be a tip that you could help, say, somebody that's interested in, the beauty business, and especially the fact that you know how to formulate your own products as opposed to, somebody getting into the beauty business and buying somebody else's products and selling them.
Sure. For starters, do not start with sunscreen or acne products because those are classified as OTC. When it's OTC, then it's under a very strict regulation of FDA.
Yes.
And also you have to have expiration date printed and the expiration date is actually shorter than the typical cosmetic product. And especially when you start out, you don't have proven success in your marketplace. So if you're gonna have been stuck with 5,000, 10,000 pieces of products that you cannot sell,
Yeah.
it's a waste of money. Besides, OTC products require a lot of drug testing because they're considered as drug.
Yeah.
So do not ever start with the sunscreen products or acne products.
Yeah, no, that's a very good tip because I myself have come across a client recently whom got stuck with that. They changed some regulation last year, mid last year, I think, and they actually had a lot of stock in place, but they can't sell it now because it's not authorized to do so. But certainly, and it is a tanning product. But yeah, but for sure, look, it's a $1 billion industry for sure. And I suppose, from the basis of getting somebody like an expert to help you and guide you, it's like when we talk to, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and he talks about experts and utilizing experts. Well, that's effectively what you are. You can guide somebody through setting up their business and effectively have a faster road to success than if they'd done it themselves.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What other, I suppose, what other tips or tricks could you tell us about? So you've given us the one which is really important, which is, not getting involved with, some products and stuff like that. But what other things could you share? Like, say, for somebody that, hasn't tended to get involved with it, would you encourage them to open a retail, or should they do it online or e-commerce, or what would you say?
You should start online e-commerce because it's the least expensive way. However, you must have an end in mind, because if you remotely wanting to go into stores like Sephora versus stores like Walmart, your margin is very different. So in case if you do blow up, you go viral and the retailer's knocking on your door, you need to make sure you can, they take 60% of your margin. You need to make sure you have enough profit when you go into retail. Otherwise, you'll be losing money.
Yeah, no, look, that's really good. Again, I have actually worked with a client, and they have been asked to do some of the big stores. Thankfully they didn't take them on because we had given them advice, because again, the margins are really high that they lose, and then their own margins are cut. I think when it comes to some of the big retailers, I think you need to be in the manufacturing stage as opposed to, having a product where you develop and further it. Because again, it might seem like a great idea, but a lot of these have a lot of stipulations in their contracts. And even if you sell a lot of products, if you have a bad month, there could be clauses in there where they claw back the difference between the two, the good and the bad months. Have you found that as well with some of the big ones
Yep.
in the US?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really, but that again, you see, that's where someone like yourself steps in, and somebody you can guide them through, the pitfalls of how to avoid, something that seems like a great business venture, but actually could actually ruin them in a very short period of time.
All right.
Yeah, because a lot of these big conglomerate companies, they tend to have, or make a lot of decisions based on, where your product goes, how it goes, how quickly it sells. But then, you're the one that suffers if it doesn't sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good. And then tell me then, what is, I suppose, when you talk about e-commerce, what percentage of e-commerce would you work with compared to, say, somebody in retail?
I will do at least 80% e-commerce and 20% in retail. Just because when you do e-commerce yourself, you have more margins, you pay yourself compared to sell to the store. But you do need stores, because with the store, it builds your credibility,
Yeah.
and because people need to see you around everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then, like, would you consider, if someone were doing e-commerce, would it be on the basis of like something like Shopify or Amazon? Because I know Amazon again it can be quite difficult to deal with. But Shopify, Amazon, or just their own e-commerce and then through their own channels.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify is highly recommended. Actually, most of the successful brands I know, they all operate on Shopify. But Amazon is also important because, especially if you want to get press, a
Mhm.
lot of beauty editors prefer you have products on Amazon so they can get the affiliate link, so they
Yeah.
can pay commissions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good. Yeah. And what about then when we talk about Shopify, do you, like, say where would you have a particular, when you talked about, their own formulas, would they all come from the same place? So would they have to buy a lot of product, or would it be like drop shipping?
Oh no, you when you are a brand owner, you will have to like buy the products.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
you'd basically, so it'd be similar to, somebody literally going to a wholesaler buying a product, but obviously it has their name on it, and then they store it and then sell it at will or whatever cost they wish.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And then of course, as a result of that, their margins would be quite good because they're dealing direct.
Correct.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and I suppose that's the biggest difference between, dealing direct or being the middleman with a product.
Another beauty of dealing direct is also you actually know who your customers are. So you get your email listing. So you know your community. While you go to other stores, you have no idea who's buying your products.
Yeah, yeah, very true. And then I suppose, is there something else that you can share that you may feel that's helpful with the listeners, when we talk about the beauty industry? What can you share on that?
Uh well, if you're gonna be having your own brand, the first actually before you even have products, you
Yeah.
need to make sure your company name can be trademarked
Hmm.
and you can get all the domain because a lot of time people have this name as an afterthought. I had people told me, how can I have a name uh before I even know how my product's gonna feel like? So
Yeah.
my answer is, well, when you have a baby, do you name your kids first, or is that I'm gonna name after the kid is born, so it's baby X,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it for sure. Yeah, and it's so true because you some people think that they have to do something before they can do something else. But in fact, like what you said, you've got to make sure you get it right because I actually watched a program many years ago and it was one of these apprenticeship programs, called The Apprentice, in fact. And they had come up with a name and they had used it, but then it found out that actually it was trademarked and they got in lots of trouble. So I suppose, it really is important to ensure whatever you come up with, you check it out and then you make sure that nobody else is using even something similar because you can still get in trouble. I can tell a quick story on, I've been involved in trademarks and I was myself was using a name that was nowhere near what the other name was, but I got a lawyer. I got a lawyer's letter through the post, and I was informed that I had to stop trading as it. Now you have two choices: one, you can keep going and take a risk, or two, give it up. Well, I chose to give it up because I've been down the road before where you don't do that. So the lesson is, I suppose, yeah, check your name as you mentioned, Ginger. Check the name, make sure it's you can use it and that nobody else has it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I suppose when we delve a little bit deeper then into the beauty industry, what level is that at? Is it at a level where, it'll always expand, it'll always be there, there's always new products? What can you tell us about that?
Oh, it will always be there, especially women. They prefer not to eat than not to, than not using any products because I mean it's just human nature, Thinning is good, but you cannot have wrinkles. It's just like you will not go out with a wrinkled shirt. Why would you want to have a wrinkled face, right? So there will always be advances in skincare, in hair care, because people want to have like, good hair too.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, very good. And then tell me, what is I suppose, the best strategy for somebody, again, like somebody that may be in the business, but has not really taken off with their products or whatever, or else somebody that's maybe starting off and want to, get involved in the business in a bigger way. What would you recommend the steps or stages to take?
Okay, I usually offer consulting calls for mentoring calls because because you know what you know what you don't know. That's why you seek a consultant, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And when you don't know what you don't know is where the consultant really comes in and kind of shed the light on the things that you should consider.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, very good. No, that's a very true statement for sure. What is it, I suppose, that when you look at from at the basis of the areas that you cover, what it be? Now I know we talked about the products, from head to toe, but your speciality and your field, what are the areas that you cover within the beauty industry? Because I know again they're very wide, in different areas.
I actually have experience in all of the different categories because when I was in school, I started at the cosmetic counter doing retail.
Okay.
And that's where I get my first-hand experience dealing with consumers. So
Yeah.
when I develop products, I have consumer benefits in mind. It's not just technology. If you only have technology, you don't know how to sell to the consumers or don't have any consumer benefits, it's a museum piece.
Yeah.
So I do know retail and I do know formulation. Obviously, I'm a cosmetic chemist and I do know raw materials. I was in cosmetic raw material sales before as well because you can dream up the best products ever, but if you don't have the ingredients to support your innovation, you're not going anywhere. And obviously, I've done manufacturing as well. So it's like anything within beauty, I can help you.
Very good. Is there anything that you felt maybe that was a steep learning curve for you in all that time with getting to know all the different beauty? Something that maybe would be beneficial to people listening.
Okay, so because I was a chemist, even though I had an MBA in marketing, what you learn from school is very different than real world. So when I started become a consultant, I actually take a lot of business classes. I learned from the best of the best, like Damon John of Shark Tank, Grant Cardone. They taught me the entrepreneur spirit and also what they gave me the basis for being a good entrepreneur. And this is something that you need to keep sharpening your mind because if you don't have the mindset, it's very hard to go forward and also consistently asking what is your why. A lot of people they don't achieve their goal is because their why is not big enough.
Yeah.
Your why needs to be big enough that you'll be willing to walk over broken glasses
Yeah.
and then you're gonna get it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love Grant Cardone. I've done a bit of his stuff as well. And for sure, like it is a mindset because, there's a difference between motivation and discipline. And the discipline will create the habits because if you have the desire and the passion, you'll grow towards that and you'll keep going. And I suppose the important aspect is when it comes to mindset is enjoy the journey. I've seen so
Mhm,
many entrepreneurs and business owners where, they're just fighting or battling to make money, but in fact they shouldn't. They should enjoy the journey on making money. And the more you enjoy it, it's almost like the more you tend to make. But
mhm.
you do have to have the passion and desire to ensure that you continue that. What would be so tell me some of the products themselves. Like I know we said from head to toe, but I take it there'd be more popular products than others. Now I know you touched on a little bit of the suntans and stuff like that, but what would be the most I suppose effective products and the most quickest selling products?
Premium product like face serums, face
Okay.
creams.
Okay.
Um, when you want to start a brand, I also do not recommend you to start with shampoo, conditioners, or face wash because those are commodity products.
Yeah.
It's very hard to compete in commodity. But
Okay.
then if you have a treatment product that people can see difference within 2 weeks, and you build your credibility, then people will want to know what else do you have.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, because I like the part where you say, building credibility, because that's the important part. And again, it refers back to like what we just spoke about a few minutes ago when we're saying about, building clients and building customers. If you haven't got a product that is going to create some form of results for somebody, well, then you're not going to have, success. So as you said, it is important to start with something and then move towards something else. What would be, I suppose, the average e-commerce site or business entrepreneur? How many products would they tend to get involved with at any one given time?
I would say at least four. It's not only good for the website, because if a customer goes to your website, you only have one product. If they don't like your one product, they will never come back to your website again to check out what else you have. So you do need to have multiple offering. And also, if you do have intention to go to retails, the retailers will not take only one product
Yeah,
because they don't think you are serious enough. They want to make sure they invested all this time and energy, having you on their shelf
Yeah.
you have to be a serious player. So at least 4 products, then you're ready.
And then when we talk about products, so you know, when we see products in a store, we see so many different shapes and sizes and bottle lengths and, you know, big tops on them and, you know, different sizes, millimeters, you know, 50 mil, 60 mil, 20 mil, whatever. You know, what is the best route to go there? Because I noticed that, you know, some people, I'm involved with other products, and I noticed that some people get too deep into what it's going to look like. So what I mean now, you know, they want to have a gold top on and they want to have a gold rim and they want to have this gold and that gold. But of course, the more, you know, you make it, or the more expensive it looks, the more expensive it's going to cost to make. But what's your view on that when somebody's going down that route?
You know what? If you asked me this 2 years ago, I would say what's inside the package is more important than what's outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I actually launched my own brand in 2020.
yeah,
And the feedback is people love the product, they hate my packaging.
yeah, yeah,
And I never really think my packaging is that ugly. But obviously, the beauty editors don't like the packaging. And when they don't like the packaging, they're not gonna be, how you to promote it.
yeah,
And then you kind of just lose that because people are still picking up the book by the book cover. It's
yes,
just human natural.
yeah.
So yes, it have to look good.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, as you said, it's, you know, when you know how good it is and people see the results, but, you know, when you're doing marketing, it has to look the part. There
Mhm.
is a fine balance between, you know, trying to get it to look the part and not trying to spend too much on, you know, developing it or making it so fancy. But do you find that's a fine balance?
It is a fine balance, yes,
Mm.
especially for startups. I mean, for startup, you usually want to focus on the products because product is the resellability. You want repeat sales. You never want people only buy one time.
Yeah.
So, uh, and that's really the product speaks to, repeat ability, no matter how beautiful the package is. Your packaging though can attract your first time buyers.
Yeah, very good. And then do you find that, you know, you attract people worldwide in different countries, or does it tend to be, you know, US and Canada?
Well, it depends. Usually, when you are a startup, you start in US and Canada first to build up your clientele, then you go overseas. But once again, you start with an end in mind. If you know you want to go global, there are regulations in each raw material.
Yeah.
It's like even though, this country can use 1%, the other country may be using 0.5% only.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
everything needs to be compliant.
Yeah. Yeah. And oh, yeah, and again, when we talk about different countries, you know, they have different legislation, even with taxes, and, you know, sometimes that can affect your profit margins and delivery and all sorts. So I suppose, what would be your tip on the basis of somebody starting off? You know, because everybody wants to sell to everybody, but you can't do that at all the time because people tend to have market.
Well, the easiest way to do that is if you work with a retailer who already have global footprint, like Sephora.
Yeah, yeah,
They are all over.
yeah, yeah,
So if you are in with them, then it's easier to go everywhere.
yeah. Very good. Yeah, yeah. Taps into it. I suppose then it can be, you know, the work that you put in at the early stages can reflect, you know, the future of how you expand, whether it's rapidly or not.
Yes.
Yeah. Ginger, been a great speaking to you, and I'm loving hearing all about the beauty industry and how it works and the products and how it formulates. If somebody wants to make contact with you, where can they reach out to you?
My Instagram is probably the best. My Instagram handle is the Beauty Shark Ginger. The Beauty Shark Ginger.
Okay,
BAUTYSHARK Ginger. The Beauty Shark Ginger.
Beauty Shark Ginger, fantastic. Ginger, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, and we maybe look forward to speaking to you again sometime.
Thank you.